Welcome back to Change Ed.
Change Ed.
Your number one favoritist podcast in the entire world. Change Ed, working together with everyone.
Yeah.
To change education one podcast at a time. I am your favoritist host, not two-ist, but three.
Still curious about the data.
Andrew Kuhn. I'm an education consultant from Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, and here with me,
Tricia Samachek, an educational consultant from the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit.
also in this incredible esports podcasting space at Carpenter Lehigh Intermediate Unit, is
Tony Marabito, CLIU 21 Staff Development Facilitator.
This is a unique podcast for us because we are not just talking about Change Ed. We are meeting and having podcasts with our mothers.
Crazy.
So this episode, I should say, is with someone I know casually. I've spent some time with her. My own mother, Tricia Kuhn. Welcome to the show, Mom.
And I have known you quite well since January 27th.
I'm
Yes,
so
he's
Finally,
glad
the date comes out.
Yay!
Yes.
you put my birth date out there. We will
What's
bleep
his
that
social?
out.
Do you want to leave his social out here too while we're at it?
This is already a mess.
Well, I could,
this is such a mess.
I have so many questions for you,
I'm
Tricia.
so excited.
Yep.
Question 1, how did you survive?
It was a challenge at times, I must admit. And Andrew's sense of humor is always kept us laughing and wondering.
That's right.
And the favorite story that we tell on him.
We're already at a
Yes,
story?
yes.
Andrew,
Yeah,
one
we're gonna
question
story.
and we're
I
telling
muted
stories.
him. I muted him. Go.
When he was young, if he was hungry, he would come in like wanted dinner. He goes, "Mom, Lindsay wants to know when dinner is."
Lindsay
We really
wants-
knew
Wow.
who wanted to know when dinner was, but he
We-
didn't want to say it up
That
front.
has not changed, by the way. I get blamed for everything, and the question is always, "Well, Patrice said," or "Patrice wants to know." I'm loving. I have so much sympathy. I feel like I need to talk to Lindsay.
We have to talk
Yes.
about podcast etiquette. Maybe we should do that with our guests from now on. We're 30
No.
seconds in. You've said my birth date, and you've already said siblings' names. Like, there's...
I love it.
This
This
is
is a
amazing.
problem.
No, this is perfect.
This is exactly what I wanted from a Mother's Day episode. This is
It
perfect.
really
Oh,
is.
me too.
Okay.
From somebody else's mom, not my mom. Meanwhile, your mom scares me, and your mom is too adorable for me to say anything fun.
My mom is adorable.
All right, Mom.
Could you
Thanks for
imagine if
coming
we
on.
got the 3 of them in a room, though?
That'd be great.
Mom, thanks for coming on. It was such a great show. Enjoy the rest of your
up.
day.
We're going to set that up at Tony's restaurant.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh
We could
my
do like an
gosh,
afternoon lunch and get everybody together. We could just
Mother's
leave the
Day.
room and
think
let it
that
happen.
sounds fabulous,
Yeah.
actually. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Can I call you Tricia, or do you want me to call you Mrs. Kuhn?
Oh, please call me Tricia. Mrs. Kuhn is my mother-in-law.
Done.
Yes.
Tricia, thanks for coming on the show. Mom, will you tell the Change Ed Nation about you? We're all about education, but could you just tell us a little bit about your experience, your background, the privilege it was having me as your son, whatever comes to
My
mind.
goodness. I don't know how you survived.
I can address everything but the last one. But yeah. Anyway, so I have to say that somebody just asked me, when did you know you wanted to be a teacher? And I said, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher from when I was young. I loved kids. I loved babysitting. I thought at once I wanted to teach home ec. I also thought that then elementary, came into mind. So I ended up following in my mother's footsteps. She went to Hood College in Frederick, Maryland. I ended up graduating in 74. And then in 79, I had stayed and taught. I got a job at the school where I had student taught North Frederick Elementary. I ended up with 2 degrees from Hood, my early education degree, and also a history degree.
Ooh,
just
fun.
because I took so many history courses, they said, well, why don't you just get your degree and write your thesis? So I did on Queen Victoria. Do not ask me anything about her because I don't remember, but I did write a thesis on her. I ended up teaching. I have taught everything from nursery school to graduate school, except for 2nd grade.
Wow.
So
Super impressive.
I love loved kindergarten. I did 4 years in first grade, 2 in kindergarten. I did special ed here up in Garnet Valley as an aide for a couple of years when I was getting back into teaching. I had gone for my reading specialist degree while I was in Frederick. Ironically, I don't know if I ever planned to be a reading specialist. I just knew how crucial reading was to my students, whatever age they were, that I wanted to be a really good reading teacher. And I love books. I love putting my hands on books. I just love it. Anyway, that's why I got my reading specialist. And then when I married George, Andrew's father.
We're dropping all the names. All of them are getting dropped.
I'm making a tree.
I would like to give a shout out to my brother, Mark. And
Stop.
I'll run down the family tree.
Oh my gosh, stop. Let her
Go
talk.
ahead, Mom. You're doing great.
You're amazing.
Don't
let me
call
stop
me
you.
anymore.
Don't call
Well, anyway, then your father started moving us all across the United States. So we lived in 7 different states and 4 times in Pennsylvania. So we did a lot of moving. I taught nursery school in Kansas. I mean, it was all fun and different things. And then when we came back here, I always told him I would go back to teaching if my certificate ever caught up with me, which was a Pensy certificate. And I did have a lifetime one. So anyway, what did I do? I ended up getting a job in Delaware where I didn't have one, but it's was 4 miles away.
Yeah.
So I taught in the Brandywine School District for 19 years.
Nice.
As a reading specialist. So, and many of my students were from inner city Wilmington. It was a different clientele, and it was one that really needed the extra support. I did 9 years at a 4, 5, and 6, and then I was transferred to a middle school, 6, 7, and 8. And as you know, we call them their wonder years because you always wonder what they're going to do next.
That is true.
Well, it taught me a lot, and a lot about change has to begin with us. And with my students, I would love, I'd show them movies, and we would talk about things in the movies. I always put the words up, so that was the reading part. But it was like, we would watch the movie 42, right when,
Jackie Robinson.
And I love that movie. So watch 42. It's a very good movie. And there's some scenes in there where I would stop them and go back and show that really prejudice has to be learned and it has to stop with us. We just have to be, kind to each other at whatever. That was just sort of my mantra at times. I did come from a long line. My mother was a history teacher at Camden High School, and she left for 4 years to join the Waves during 1942 as one of the first Waves, and then she came back to teaching. And then my grandfather was the CFO for Camden High School school district. It was, quite a large district. So
teaching's in your blood. That's what I'm hearing.
It's in my blood, and I seem to have sent that DNA on because all 3 of my children, Andrew, Mark, and Lindsay, all of them got teaching degrees.
That's awesome.
Now, I don't know that I ever told them to get teaching degrees, but I did. If you're wanting to make money, I wouldn't have suggested that, but I loved it. And I did. I really loved what I did.
In your opinion, who's the best teacher?
Ooh,
I am not going there. I'm not going there.
I tried.
That's not fair.
Well, first of all, Mark, the middle one, went into community management. So he was going to be the phys ed teacher, but he got hired off the golf course when he was caddying.
My kind of guy.
And he did.
Great. We're going to love my brother more than me.
HOA.
We need a new storyline here, guys.
My children have very specific talents. And I would say his sister Lindsay, really for the younger kids, is really in tune. Well, she taught 2nd, 3rd grade, and she was very in tune, and she got her reading degree too. So that. But I will say Andrew is the smartest. Okay, Andrew.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you. That's recorded.
My mom would never say that. That's amazing.
Well,
although I don't think she thinks I'm the smartest one, so that's
I
probably
think she
why.
means smart within 3-letter word that comes after that.
Well, listen, what I'm saying is each of my children have amazing talents in their area. And like yesterday when Andrew did that science fair, I'm like, he is in heaven. This is where he shines.
Okay, Tricia, I gotta tell you. So Andrew and I were there, and it was a big event. I don't know what he told you. There was like 450 people there. It was huge. And so he's very much, we work very well together, and he is very much
Showman.
in front of everyone. Yes, the showman. And I am more of I would like to be behind the scenes and making sure like everything is going. Yesterday, I feel like I need to get your phone number so we can share some text messages, pictures, emails, whatever of
I would
Andrew.
love it.
Yeah,
Love
of
it.
Andrew like up on the stage being Andrew. Like I don't know how else to describe that. So I have
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's
I
like
understand.
he like flips on the switch, and I'm not sure he
This
ever
is my
flips-
nightmare. This whole scenario is my nightmare.
My turn. I'm not sure the switch flips off. Like,
Okay. Well, you know
does he
what?
ever like not be like literally the showman all the time? Like, is he?
Guys, I'm more than
Yeah,
a pretty
there
face, okay? I have feelings, just so everyone's
There-
aware.
He does relax a little at home.
A little.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
But if you could have seen our text yesterday, you would have known he was back on again because we were picking on each other constantly, all of us.
I love that. I feel like your group family text chain is an amazing experience for anyone involved. But I think you would be very, very proud of him. Yesterday
Oh.
was a massive undertaking for the two of us. And Andrew always, even when he's stressed out or isn't having the best day, he always puts his best face forward and is always greeting people. And he has helped me, because I'm a natural introvert, he has helped me become more of an outgoing person and
Okay.
meet new people. Like he has introduced me to so many people and is just a phenomenal human. So I wanted you to know that, and I'll never say that again.
While we're giving flowers, yes, I think you would have been very, very proud. I know I give Andrew a hard time. We go back and forth a lot. But when he was on that stage, he really commanded. I mean, there was a lot of people in that auditorium. It didn't even faze him. At one point, the slide deck didn't work, and you would have not even known because Andrew just kind of went with it, changed the prompt, did this, did that, and he was just very, very impressive up on that stage. So you did an awesome job.
He's a very fast thinker. Like he doesn't let it stop him if something doesn't go the right way, and he can find a solution anywhere.
Yeah. And that is so true.
That's enough of being nice to Andrew. But now I have to ask a question.
Yay.
Oh,
I would love to hear, Tricia, your favorite story from Andrew's childhood.
I don't.
Literally
No one
anything you
wants
want to
hear
share
that.
with us.
You know what, Mom? We actually have to end this Zoom. We have there's a fire alarm going off. We have to leave.
No, there's no. I will burn in the
let your mom
building
speak.
to hear the
Wait,
story.
She's doing an amazing
Burn the
job.
building. There will be fire. Okay.
Where do I start? What do I pick?
Yes.
Alphabetically.
You can as
numerically.
many as you want. Listen, you don't stop at one.
Oh.
You have a great sense of humor, by the way, too. And so
It's
that must be
amazing.
where Andrew
Yeah.
gets it from.
Yeah.
Nope.
thank
This is all original.
This is on- Okay, well, this is funny because I was just telling someone this story.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
But I was saying, Andrew was like 2.5, and we were living in Fredericksburg, Virginia. The neighbors were right next door. We had a nice lot. But so the cat came over, and we were getting ready for grilling, and Andrew thought that you take the tongs and you pinch the cat's nose.
I was curious. I'm a science person. I wouldn't know what would
Yeah.
happen.
And do you remember the consequence of your actions,
Yeah,
hon?
yeah, it felt good. It felt good. When the cat sliced my face.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Slashed him.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't horrible. He doesn't have scars still, but he
Oh, I
learned
was
his lesson.
wondering if that's why the beard was here to cover up the scar.
That could be. He only did it once, though. Can I tell you that?
Yeah,
Fast
so that's
learner. We've
fast
already
learner.
established
That's
that.
Fast
Yeah. The
learner.
cat
Quick on his feet.
The
Once
cat
and done.
was my educator and taught me to don't piss people on the nose with tweezers.
right.
Oh, this is
So-
fun.
That's better than I could have expected.
That is a good one.
Anyway, any other stories you need?
Oh,
I mean, I could keep going here, but I do have a question for you. Education-wise, it seems like you've been almost in every position. My favorite is always the littles. I was elementary teacher, and I just communicate with them better. But what was your favorite position, and in which state, and why?
good one.
Okay. I would have to say kindergarten, Frederick, Maryland. And that's actually when I got married, and then I had to leave there to go to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. But I love the littles, and I love all my littles. Actually, it was interesting. I tell this story too. My kindergarten assignment for student teaching was in Thurmont, Maryland. That teacher was not a huggy snuggy teacher. You know, she didn't put the kids in your lap. She didn't hug them. And this was killing me. It was like killing me. But I always say sometimes you learn most from what somebody doesn't do that you want to do.
Yeah.
So it really helped define me as a teacher. Hug and snug them and wipe their tears and, sit around in a rocking chair and they're all in front of you. And it was so it was a lesson that I learned of seeing what wasn't done, seeing what I want to do. Now, I did learn a lot from her about the education and stuff.
I love that. I love that you pointed out sometimes you learn from what someone is not doing.
Exactly.
It's a really valuable lesson.
I will say education has changed, and I did love being a teacher. I really did.
Well, Tricia, this is you're amazing. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to get the three of our moms in a space.
I think that'd be great.
I think we need to make that happen.
My mom is actually moving to Alaska. So it's going to be really
fine.
hard.
Listen, if we can get work to pay us to go to Alaska
Time
to see
zone, there's a lot of
Tricia,
issues
I feel
there.
like it's a win.
So one thing I want to toss out there is we're talking about education is that my mom was in a really unique scenario with her own children because she was a reading specialist and all three of her children had a learning difference when it came to reading. So she couldn't have been a more perfect person to help usher us through that. And it was super awesome to be in school all day. I think I'm home and your mom's like, we're going to work on reading. No. But she was the right person to be an advocate for us to get us through that. I had an IEP. And she knew all the aspects of the system from being an educator, which provided me with a really unique perspective to say, but what if my mom wasn't my mom? Like, what if she wasn't in education?
I have the same thoughts about our kids, truthfully. Like, we can advocate differently for our children because of what we know. I think we do a massive benefit to... There's a blessing and a curse to being a teacher's child. Being a teacher's child myself and being a teacher myself.
I mean,
it is
it's
a
mainly
blessing
all
and a curse.
but for me. But
well, I mean, I feel like
Mom.
she would respond the same way with you too. So I can see how it would be a benefit, but it's also exhausting because at some point we have to be mom, and we can't be the teacher and the reading specialist and all the things. Like, I got my reading specialist cert, and I want to help my children. Both my kids are excelling pretty well in math, but reading is something and writing is something my youngest is struggling with. And I have to, and this is one of the things that I'm sure, Tricia, you had to wrestle with too. At some point, I have to stop being the professional and start being mom, because I have to fight for my kid, but I also have to give them time to be a kid.
And the saying goes, the doctor's kids are always the ones that are sick, because at some point you actually kind of shut it down.
Yeah,
it is something. And the big thing is being your kid's advocate. And now I have to be my mother-in-law's advocate.
Yeah.
It was in a nursing.
A different perspective.
Just listen, we need this, we need that, whatever. And that's the same thing with Andrew. Though this is a story on me. I was a young mom and he was just in were you in third or fourth grade when they figured out he couldn't sound out words, and that was his reading difficulty. And he must have been in second grade, and I almost felt badly that I hadn't realized that.
I had the same experience with my youngest son, if I'm being honest. Yep, same thing.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you know that, Tricia?
Yep.
Once we knew it, and I used to use him as an example all the time when I teach different ways how you learn to read. And I said, my son Andrew, he looks at all the words around it and he figures it out. And I said, he's got 14 masters now. So, I mean, he's always going to school. He's always getting great grades. But it was a struggle in the beginning. And when people would ask me, should I get the extra help for my kid?
Yes.
I said, never turn it down.
Yep.
For sure.
It's harder to get it added later.
Mom, this is our Mother's Day special, so I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for tolerating my siblings and for having the privilege of raising me.
Tricia, if you have any pictures, we would love to lead off this podcast on the website with a little picture of maybe baby Andrew after the cat incident, or any other picture that you might have of Andrew as our tile to advertise to people. That would be fantastic.
Oh, so how do I get that picture to you?
Tricia, I'm going to slip you
MIRABITOA@CLIU.org.
I was going to slip you my email address or my phone number, because I feel like we need to know each other.
Here's the thing.
I think a Tricia and a Patrice, I mean, it was made.
It was destined.
Here's the thing. My mom doesn't believe in email. So that's not going to work.
Stop speaking for her. She's her own human.
I'm just protecting her because I care.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes,
and thank you for sharing this, but also for your work in education. Mm-hmm. One thing I'll say about you is that you're a jack of all trades and you could easily be a pinch hitter. If they needed somebody to do something, I know from being with you and watching you that you could do that. In a lot of ways, I hadn't thought of this till now, but you were the one they would go to for events and for things that would happen. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of carried on from the event that just happened that we were talking about, where it's bringing people together and having this shared experience and continuing on the learning. I want to say thank you for all that you did and continue to do. And like you said, during COVID, you had just retired and you jumped in and you helped your grandchildren with their learning. That's a true commitment to education and to believing in education. Like you said, it's actually, for me, I'm a fourth generation educator in this line of educators. So it's something that is very valued in our family and that we continue on and believe in working in others and believing in others. So thank you for coming. Do either one of you want to say anything nice to my mom?
I adore her.
Yep. But thank you. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day. And I can't wait to hear more stories because this is going to be fodder for the future. It's going to be great.
We do have to get together.
Oh.
We do.
I completely agree.
It has to happen.
On behalf of the entire Change Ed team, we want to say Happy Mother's Day to you, Tricia, since we're name dropping, and all the mothers out there that are listening to our podcast. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you follow us and that you share this with all of the mothers, any influential educator in your life, mentor, friend, foe, whatever it may be. And we want to make sure that you love what you do and that you love those along the ride with you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well done. Thanks, Tricia.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tricia.
Mom.